Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. We really need to talk about that agonizing, totally universal experience we've all had. You know the one. It's 2 a.m., the house is dead silent, except for maybe the ticking of a clock or the hum of your fridge. You're exhausted, your body feels like lead, your eyes are burning, and you're just begging for sleep. But your brain, well, your brain is wide awake and running an absolute marathon.
It's replaying awkward conversations from 10 years ago, worrying about tomorrow's to-do list, or just straight up refusing to shut down. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know right out of the gate that you are not broken. Seriously, you're not alone. Insomnia is incredibly common. But today, we're going to use the actual language of your own nervous system to fix it. We're going to learn how to actively trick your body into falling asleep.
So here's our biological toolkit to reclaim your night. We'll be looking at 1. The rusty sleep switch, 2. Calming the nervous system, 3. Melting physical tension, 4. Quieting the racing mind, 5. The military method, and finally, 6. The temperature force multiplier. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The rusty sleep switch.
Let's completely debunk the biggest misconception out there about aging and rest. A lot of people think that as we get older, we just naturally need less sleep. Well, that is a complete myth. No way! You need the exact same amount of sleep right now as you did years ago. So, the really crucial takeaway here is that you don't need less sleep. Actually, your internal sleep switch has just gotten a little rusty. It needs some retraining. This isn't a permanent failure, it's just a mechanical issue we can absolutely address together.
Physiologically speaking, it's basically a chemical mismatch. You see, melatonin, that's the chemical that tells your brain to turn off, gets weaker as we age. Meanwhile, cortisol, your alert chemical, hangs around way too long. But here is the amazing news. We can physically trick this system to balance itself out, and we can do it without having to rely on heavy sleeping pills that leave you feeling totally groggy the next morning.
Section 2. Calming the nervous system.
To force your nervous system completely out of its fight or flight mode, and do it in under 60 seconds, mind you, we're going to turn to the single most powerful, completely free tool you own, your breath. Now, you might be thinking, come on, I already know how to breathe. But this is a very specific rhythm known as the 4-7-8 method. Here's exactly how you do it. Place your tongue right behind your upper front teeth. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Hold it right there for 7. Then you're going to make your exhale longer than your inhale, pushing the air out with a whoosh sound for 8 counts. Doing this physically flips a switch in your brain that screams, hey, we're safe, we can relax now. Doing just 4 cycles of this acts like a literal, natural tranquilizer.
Moving on to Section 3, melting physical tension.
This builds right on top of our breathing to tackle that really annoying subconscious physical restlessness. You know, the kind that makes your legs twitch and makes the pillow feel way too hot. This technique is called progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR for short. It's an absolute game changer for anyone who feels physically restless in bed. See, we often hold tension without even realizing it, like clenching our jaw or shrugging our shoulders up. And you literally cannot relax a muscle if you don't realize it's tense in the first place. So with PMR, we deliberately squeeze our muscles to create really high tension and then let them go. This completely forces that hidden stress right out of the body.
So what you do is scan slowly from toe to head. Curl your toes downward, squeeze them hard, hold, and release. Then squeeze your thighs until they feel like heavy dead weight sinking right into the mattress. Do the exact same thing with your hands, making really tight fists. Pull your shoulders high up to your ears, hold it, and just drop them. Finally, your face. Wrinkle your nose, clench your jaw tight, and then let it just hang totally loose. By the time you finish scanning up your body, it is physically impossible to remain stressed out.
Section 4, quieting the racing mind. We'd like to call this the brain scramble, because let's face it, the second you lie down, your brain loves to play a greatest hits album of your worries. Did I pay the bill? What if my pain gets worse? You just can't willpower your brain into stopping. Think about it. It's like telling someone, hey, don't think of a pink elephant. What happens? Boom. You instantly picture a huge pink elephant. You actually have to distract your brain with something completely nonsensical.
So we use a fascinating technique invented by a university professor called cognitive shuffling. Basically, you pick a simple random word, let's say bed. For the letter B, visualize completely disconnected random items. A bear eating honey, a bouncing red ball, a baby, a boat. When you run out of ideas, move to E, an elephant, a fried egg, an envelope. Then D, a dog, a door, a drum. Doing this completely scrambles your logic center. The part of your brain that loves to worry simply cannot focus on these random, silly images. It perfectly mimics those fragmented, totally random thoughts we get right before we start dreaming, which basically tricks your brain into falling asleep.
Next up, clearing the RAM, also known as the worry dump.
But wait, what if we could actually stop that racing mind before you even get under the covers? We need to clear your brain's RAM, random access memory. About 30 minutes before bed, grab a notebook and make 2 columns. On the left side, write down the worry, like the roof is leaking. On the right side, write down the very next concrete step to fix it, like ask neighbor Bob for a roofer on Tuesday. By writing down the worry right next to a concrete plan, you're literally transferring the burden from your mind to the paper. You're giving your subconscious full permission to just close up the office for the night and let it go.
Section 5. The military method. All right, this is the superpower technique, sleep in 2 minutes. This was actually popularized by the U.S. Navy pre-flight school to help pilots fall asleep in under 2 minutes, even when they're in super noisy, high-stress environments. And hey, if it works in a fighter jet, it's definitely going to work in your bedroom. This technique brilliantly combines our previous muscle relaxation with a very specific mental visualization. It starts with an intense focus on having a totally slack face, letting the tongue and jaw go completely limp. That sends a massive signal to the rest of your body to stand down. Step 2, drop your shoulders, letting them just melt into the mattress. Step 3, exhale, relaxing your chest and your legs. And step 4 is a mental clearing for exactly 10 seconds.
For that 10-second mental clearing, you want to picture one of 2 highly static, incredibly boring scenes. You're either lying in a canoe on a calm lake with absolutely nothing but blue sky above you, or you're lying in a black velvet hammock in a pitch-black room. You just hold that image. The goal is to strictly prevent thoughts of your grandkids, your health, or your bills from creeping in.
Now, if your mind wanders even a little bit back to a worry, the military method has a direct, hard-hitting solution. You repeat this phrase slowly to yourself. Don't think, don't think, don't think. Do that for 10 seconds. I know it sounds almost ridiculously simple, but repeating it builds this impenetrable mental wall that blocks out all other thoughts. Once you block the thoughts and relax the body, sleep almost always follows within minutes.
Section 6. The temperature force multiplier. This is our bonus biological trick, and it acts as a force multiplier for every single technique we've discussed today. 2 degrees. For your body to physically initiate the sleep process, your core body temperature absolutely must drop by 2 degrees. And this physiological process is literally impossible if your bedroom feels like a sauna.
So here is the magic combination. Keep the room cool, somewhere between 65 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 20 degrees Celsius. But, and this is absolutely key, wear warm socks. Why on earth would you do that? Well, the warm socks dilate the blood vessels in your feet, which actually allows your internal body heat to escape, cooling your core down much faster. It's sending a giant message to your brain saying, okay, it is finally time to sleep.
Which brings us to a really important realization. If your internal sleep switch is just rusty, what's going to happen tonight when you finally start speaking the actual language of your nervous system? You now have the exact biological triggers required to completely retrain your body and finally end that awful nightly battle with your racing mind.
Bookmark this explainer right now so you have these exact visual steps waiting for you at 3 a.m. if you need them. Apply these triggers tonight and take back your rest. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we can literally hack our nervous system to fall asleep in under 2 minutes, what other automatic bodily functions are we just one simple trick away from mastering? Sweet dreams!